creative piece of work in terms of writing, to just say, oh, and I want this there, and if I don't put this thing about sorrow, then this bit doesn't make sense, so I'll put the other stuff, and I want to tell you about this other thing that then happened. So it becomes very exciting and thrilling to just put it on paper. And then you have to step into, oh gosh, I have to tell this, and I have to tell this to a friend of mine, or to a really hot guy who's sitting there, and I want him to like me, so I don't want to tell that story there. You know, that's different, that's another time, but I never had a problem with it. So
yeah, I mean,
I go on.
no, that's great, no, because it's part of what I wanted to talk about. I mean, I'll come to you in a minute, sort of, but I just wanted to talk about kind of choices and narrative. I mean, the idea of the personal story, the personal oral story, a kind of an alternative history, if you like, an alternative sense of identities that you're talking about. Well, I won't say alternative sense, but for different senses of identities, it's very rich in terms of black storytelling. You know, whether it be fictional and precious, or whether it be slave narratives, or whether it be, you know, early 20th century narratives of Zora Neale Hurston, or you know, it's a very kind of almost traditional oral telling, storytelling thing that happened. Were you aware of that? And also, how did, just as you mentioned, Tonderai, how did you decide on what was useful or interesting for the story and what isn't?
I think Chuck, we call him the therapist, because there's a lot of things about, well, there's a lot, I always thought, why is that interesting? I don't think that should be there, I don't think that should be there. And a lot of, because I have trust for him, I think that a lot of things that I didn't really want to put in, got put in. And some other things, I think we kind of like, for me, I kept on seeing Tonderai being braver and braver. And the whole thing about me drinking, I didn't say anything about that until maybe the last week of a rehearsal, because I just thought, no one needs to know about that. But the more braver Tonderai got, the more braver it made me feel. In terms of storytelling, I love telling stories. You know, I never was told stories when I was younger. I never used to read when I was younger, and I can't stop reading, and I love telling stories. So to me, it was a perfect opportunity to do the work I do using stories.
And Chuck also